The night I married Nathan Cross, I made a choice that would save everything I had. I didn't tell him about the Victorian mansion Aunt Eleanor left me in her will. And honestly, best decision I ever made. Because 3 days after our wedding, while I was still trying to figure out why my husband disappeared on our wedding night, his mother showed up at my apartment with a real estate agent and paperwork ready to go. Her smile faded pretty quickly once she realized what I'd been hiding. But let me back up. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're a subscriber, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Because the weirdness started way before Vivian showed up with her schemes. Our wedding was at the Ashford Grand Hotel, this beautiful historic place right on the coast in Maine. You know those venues that look like they're straight out of a fairy tale? Stone architecture, ocean views, the whole package. I'd dreamed about getting married there since I was a kid driving past it with my parents. Everything was perfect. The ceremony went off without a hitch. Nathan looked incredible in his tux, I felt beautiful in my grandmother's vintage lace dress, and when we said our vows, I actually believed we were starting something real. Something lasting. The reception was exactly what we'd planned. Good food, great music, our friends and family dancing and celebrating. Nathan's parents, Marcus and Vivian, seemed genuinely happy. His sister Chelsea was busy posting everything on Instagram, which was typical for her. My parents were relaxed and smiling. For once, everything just felt right. But here's the thing about weddings. You're so caught up in the moment, in the photos and the toasts and making sure everyone's having a good time, that you don't always notice the small stuff. The looks people exchange. The whispered conversations in corners. The way someone's smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. I noticed Vivian watching me during the cake cutting. Not in a sweet, I'm so happy for my son, kind of way. More like she was studying me. Calculating something. When I caught her eye, she raised her champagne glass and mouthed, "Welcome to the family," with this smile that made my skin prickle. I shook it off. Wedding jitters, right? Plus, I had other things on my mind. Specifically, the fact that I'd been keeping a pretty massive secret from Nathan and his entire family. 8 months ago, my Aunt Eleanor passed away. She wasn't actually my aunt by blood. She was my mom's best friend from college, but I'd called her Aunt Eleanor my whole life. She never married, never had kids, and she always told me I was the daughter she never had. We were close. Really close. Eleanor was an architect, just like me. She's actually the reason I went into architecture in the first place. When I was 12, she took me to see this abandoned Victorian house in Portland that she'd just bought. It was a complete disaster. Peeling paint, rotted floorboards, broken windows. But Eleanor saw something beautiful in it. Sophia, she told me that day, standing in what would eventually become an incredible library, most people see what things are. Architects see what things could be. She spent the next 20 years of her life restoring that house. Every detail was researched, every material carefully chosen. She turned it into this absolutely stunning example of Victorian architecture. The kind of place that gets featured in magazines and tours during the holidays. When she got sick last year, I spent every weekend with her in that house. We'd sit in her garden room, surrounded by the stained glass windows she'd hunted down at estate sales across New England, and she'd tell me stories about each restoration project. 2 weeks before she died, she held my hand and said something I didn't fully understand at the time. People will want things from you, Sophia. Things they didn't earn. Things they don't deserve. The house is yours. But you need to be smart about it. Watch people first. See who they really are before you tell them what you have. I thought she was just being paranoid. The morphine talking, maybe. But I promised her I'd be careful. When her lawyer, James Morrison, read the will, I found out Eleanor had left me everything. The Victorian house, fully paid off, worth about $850,000. But that wasn't even the most valuable part. Hidden throughout the house was her art collection. Paintings and sculptures she'd acquired over the years, worth another $200,000 easily. And the house itself had historical significance. It had been a stop on the Underground Railroad. There was talk of landmark status, potential grants, the whole thing. I was set. Completely financially secure at 29 years old. But something about Eleanor's warning stuck with me. So I didn't tell anyone. Not my parents, not my friends, and especially not Nathan, who I'd just started dating seriously around that time. Nathan and I had met at a marketing conference where I was presenting some architectural renderings for a client. He was charming, ambitious, came from what seemed like a solid family. We clicked immediately. 6 months later, he proposed on a weekend trip to Bar Harbor. His family seemed nice enough when I met them. Marcus was quiet, reserved, the typical retired finance guy. Chelsea was friendly in that surface-level way influencers are. And Vivian, well, Vivian asked a lot of questions. Where did I grow up? What did my parents do? Did I rent or own? What were my financial plans? Did I have any inheritance coming? I kept my answers vague. Teacher parents, renting a small apartment, living paycheck to paycheck like most architects do in their first decade. Let them think I was just a regular girl marrying into their comfortable upper-middle-class family. But at the reception, something shifted. I was standing near the gift table when I overheard Vivian talking to Marcus by the bar. They didn't know I was behind the floral arrangement. The timing is perfect, Vivian was saying. Once they're back from the honeymoon, we can start having the conversations. Are you sure about this? Marcus sounded uncertain. Marcus, we're out of options. The house is the answer. We just need to handle it carefully. Make her think it's her idea. My heart started pounding. What house? My rental apartment? That didn't make sense. What if Nathan objects? Marcus asked. He won't. He's always done what's best for the family. This is no different. I moved away before they could see me, my mind racing. But I didn't have time to process it because that's when the really strange part of the night began. Around 11 p.m., Nathan and I finally made it up to our honeymoon suite. We'd splurged on the best room in the hotel. Ocean view, separate living area, huge bathroom with a soaking tub. It was gorgeous. I was exhausted but happy, taking off my jewelry and thinking about finally getting out of my dress, when Nathan's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and his whole face changed. I have to go, he said. I laughed. What? Go where? Nathan, it's our wedding night. I know, I'm sorry. It's a family emergency. What kind of emergency? He was already grabbing his jacket. My dad. He's having chest pains. Mom's freaking out. I need to drive them to the hospital. I'll come with you. No. He said it too quickly, too firmly. No, you stay here. Get some rest. I'll be back in a few hours. And just like that, my husband of 6 hours walked out the door. I stood there in that beautiful honeymoon suite, still in my wedding dress, staring at the door Nathan had just walked through. Part of me wanted to believe him. His dad having chest pains, that's serious, right? That's the kind of thing you drop everything for. But something felt off. The way he'd looked at his phone. The way he'd told me not to come. The way he'd practically run out of there. I called my best friend Rachel. She picked up on the second ring. Shouldn't you be doing newlywed things right now? She asked, laughing. Nathan left. Silence. Then, I'm sorry, what? I told her everything. The overheard conversation between Vivian and Marcus. Nathan's sudden emergency. How weird he'd been acting. Sophia, Rachel said slowly. She's a psychologist, so she always chooses her words carefully. That's really strange behavior. Are you sure about this family? It's probably nothing. I'm probably overreacting. Your instincts are telling you something. Listen to them. After we hung up, I tried Nathan's phone 3 times. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Voicemail. I texted. Nothing. I finally got out of my dress around midnight, put on the silk pajamas I'd bought specifically for tonight, and tried to convince myself everything was fine. Maybe I'd watch a movie. Maybe I'd order room service. Maybe I'd just go to sleep and Nathan would be back by morning with a perfectly reasonable explanation. That's when I heard it. Voices. Coming from somewhere close. At first, I thought it was the TV from the next room. Hotels have thin walls sometimes. But these voices were closer than that. Muffled, but definitely having a conversation. I pressed my ear to the wall adjoining the next suite. Nothing. Then I realized. The voices were coming from below me. Our suite had a small balcony overlooking the ocean, but it also had windows that faced an interior courtyard. I walked over and opened one of those windows slightly. The voices became clearer. They were coming from the private event space directly below our suite. The same room where we'd had our reception just a few hours ago. This has to be done quickly, a woman's voice said. Vivian. I still think we should wait, Marcus replied. Give them a few weeks at least. We don't have weeks. The bank wants an answer by Friday. My blood went cold. Bank? What bank? What if she says no? A younger voice. Chelsea. She won't say no, Vivian said, and I could hear the confidence in her voice. She's a sweet girl. Practical. She'll understand that family helps family. And if she doesn't? Marcus pressed. Then Nathan convinces her. That's why we had him leave tonight. He's downstairs right now going through the plan with us tomorrow. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. There was no emergency. No hospital. No chest pains. Nathan had left our wedding night to attend a planning session with his family. A planning session about me. I grabbed my phone and opened the voice memo app, holding it near the window. My hands were shaking but I kept it steady. The house is the key, Vivian continued. If we can get her to put it up as collateral, we can save the business and she'll never even know the risk. What house? Chelsea asked. I thought she rented that tiny apartment. Oh, Chelsea. Vivian's laugh was cold. You think I didn't do my research? Eleanor Hayes died 8 months ago. Left everything to our dear Sophia. A Victorian house in Portland worth close to $1 million. Plus whatever else the old woman had squirreled away. I nearly dropped my phone. They knew. They knew about the house. About Eleanor. About everything. How did you find out? Marcus asked. Public records, darling. Property transfers, probate filings. It's all there if you know where to look. The house was transferred to Sophia's name 4 months ago. She's been sitting on a fortune and playing poor this whole time. Maybe she has a good reason for not mentioning it, Marcus said quietly. The reason is she doesn't trust us. Which is why we need to move fast, before she has time to do anything foolish with it. Nathan's going to bring it up casually this week. Just a conversation about future plans, where they want to live, that sort of thing. Once we know she hasn't done anything to protect it yet, we move forward with the loan paperwork. And if she has protected it? Chelsea asked. The silence that followed was terrifying. Then we find another way, Vivian said finally. But I don't think we'll need to. She's a trusting soul. Romantic. She married Nathan after less than a year. Girls like that believe in happy endings. Nathan's voice suddenly joined the conversation, and I actually felt sick. I still don't feel right about this, he said. Nathan. Vivian's voice took on a sharp edge. Your father's business is going under. 40 years of work, gone. Our retirement, gone. Your sister's trust fund, gone. Everything. Do you want that on your conscience? No, but lying to Sophia. You're not lying. You're just strategically withholding certain details about our financial situation until after she's comfortable sharing hers. It's called marriage, sweetheart. What's hers is yours now anyway. I closed the window as quietly as I could and backed away, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might break through my chest. Eleanor's words came rushing back. Watch people first. See who they really are before you tell them what you have. She'd known. Somehow, she'd known this would happen. I looked around the honeymoon suite. At the champagne on ice that we were supposed to share. At the rose petals scattered across the bed. At the life I'd thought I was starting. And I made a decision. If they wanted to play games, I could play too. But they didn't know what Eleanor had taught me. They didn't know that I'd spent years learning to see the bones of a structure, to understand what held things up and what would make them fall. They thought I was a romantic who believed in happy endings. They were about to learn I was an architect who understood foundations. And I was very, very good at controlled demolitions. Nathan came back around 3 a.m. I pretended to be asleep, listening to him move quietly through the room. He didn't smell like hospitals. When his breathing evened out, I stared at the ceiling, my mind working through everything I'd overheard. Marcus's business was failing. They'd found out about Eleanor's house through public records. And Nathan was part of their plan. Morning came with Nathan already dressed, looking at his phone. Hey, he said. How's your dad? Fine. False alarm. He looked away. Sorry about last night. We ordered breakfast, made small talk, but something had shifted. When I said I needed to head home for work, he seemed relieved. Back at my apartment, I called James Morrison, Eleanor's attorney. Sophia, how was the wedding? James, someone found out about the house. My husband's family. A pause. I see. We need to protect it immediately. Can you come to my office Tuesday morning? I'll be there. I spent the afternoon investigating. Public records showed Marcus Cross Financial Services hemorrhaging money for 2 years. Multiple lawsuits. The company was leveraged to collapse. They owed approximately $800,000. My house was worth $850,000. Not a coincidence. Nathan texted, dinner tonight? Want to talk about future planning stuff. Already starting the con. I texted back, sounds great. 7 p.m.? Perfect. I had until 7 to decide my strategy. I could confront him directly or do what Eleanor taught me, watch, document, and stay 3 steps ahead. I created a folder on my laptop, evidence. Uploaded screenshots of the business filings and property records. By the time Nathan picked me up that night, I had a plan. The Italian restaurant was dimly lit and romantic. Nathan ordered wine and made small talk before shifting gears. I've been thinking about our future, he said. Where we want to live, financial goals. We should probably look at buying something together. That's expensive in Portland. My parents could help. They have connections, know how to structure deals. He squeezed my hand. My dad mentioned helping with a down payment. We should figure out our own resources first. Right. So what are we working with? Do you have savings? Investments? Property? There it was. Why would I have property? I'm an architect. We don't make that much. Didn't your aunt pass away? Didn't she leave you anything? I looked at him carefully. Some personal things. Nothing valuable. No money. No property. Nathan, Eleanor wasn't rich. Why are you so focused on this? I'm just trying to understand our financial picture. He backtracked quickly. That's what married couples do. Is your family okay financially? Nathan tensed. Why would you ask that? You mentioned your dad could help. I want to make sure we're not taking money he needs. Dad's fine. The business is solid. The lie came easily. I watched him steer the conversation back to assets and planning for the rest of dinner. When he dropped me off, he kissed me goodnight. I love you. I'm excited about our life together. Inside, I checked my security camera. At 7:23 p.m., Chelsea had tried my door handle 3 times, then made a phone call. They were already trying to get into my apartment. I packed a bag and texted Rachel, "Can I stay at your place?" On the way, I called James. "How fast can you get those trust documents ready?" "Tuesday afternoon." "Make it Tuesday morning." "First thing." They're moving faster than I thought. At Rachel's apartment, I told her everything. "You need to decide something," she said finally. "Whether you're fighting to save this marriage, or fighting to save yourself." I looked at my wedding ring. "I'm going to save myself. Eleanor would want that." Tuesday morning, I was sitting in James Morrison's office at 8:55 a.m., 2 cups of coffee already in my system and my nerves vibrating like guitar strings. James came in exactly at 9, carrying a folder thick with papers. "Good morning, Sophia. Let's get you protected." He walked me through every document. The irrevocable trust would put Eleanor's house and the art collection under legal protection that even a court order would have trouble breaking. No one could claim it as marital property. No one could use it as collateral without my explicit, witnessed consent. No one could touch it, period. "Once you sign these, the house essentially doesn't belong to you anymore," James explained. "It belongs to the trust, and you're the sole beneficiary. That distinction matters legally. What if Nathan tries to argue that we should share it since we're married? Maine is not a community property state. Assets you had before marriage remain separate unless you explicitly commingle them. This trust makes commingling legally impossible." I signed every page. My hand was shaking by the end, but I got through it. "There's one more thing," James said, sliding another document across his desk. "A post-nuptial agreement. I took the liberty of drafting one. We didn't do a prenup." "I know. Eleanor asked me to prepare a post-nup template just in case." She was very thorough. I read through it. The agreement clearly stated that all assets owned prior to marriage would remain separate property. It also included a clause about financial transparency and a provision that any attempt to coerce or manipulate the other party into relinquishing separate property would constitute grounds for divorce with cause. Eleanor had literally predicted this exact situation. "This needs Nathan's signature too," James noted. "But I'd suggest waiting to present it until you have more leverage. Right now, if you spring this on him, it'll tip your hand. So I just hold on to it? Consider it insurance. If things escalate, you have options." I left James's office feeling like I'd put on armor. The house was safe. The art was safe. Everything Eleanor had worked for was locked down tight. My phone had 6 missed calls from Nathan and 3 texts. "Where are you? Everything okay? Mom wants to have us over for dinner tonight. Family celebration. Can you make it?" I texted back, "Had an early work meeting. Dinner sounds nice. What time?" 6:30, she's really excited to celebrate properly. I bet she was. That afternoon, I did something else Eleanor had taught me. I went to the house. Eleanor's Victorian mansion sat on a quiet street in Portland's West End, surrounded by old trees and iron fencing. I hadn't been there since right after she died. Walking up to the front door felt like visiting a ghost. Inside, everything was exactly as she'd left it. The restored hardwood floors, the intricate crown molding, the stained glass windows that threw colored light across the walls. The art collection she'd carefully curated over decades hung in every room. A small Winslow Homer sketch in the hallway. A bronze sculpture by Harriet Hosmer in the library. Pieces that most people would walk right past without realizing their value. I walked through each room, remembering Eleanor's voice explaining every choice, every restoration decision. This house was her life's work. Her legacy. And Vivian wanted to use it as collateral for her husband's failing business. over my dead body. I took photos of everything. Documentation of the current state of the house and the art. Then I changed all the locks. If anyone from Nathan's family had somehow gotten a key, they wouldn't be able to use it now. Before leaving, I stood in Eleanor's library one last time, surrounded by her books and her carefully chosen furniture. I won't let them take it, I said out loud to the empty room. I promise. At 6:30, Nathan and I pulled up to his parents' house in Cape Elizabeth. It was one of those sprawling properties that screamed old money, even though I now knew the money was mostly gone. Vivian answered the door in full hostess mode. Perfectly styled hair, designer dress, smile that could cut glass. Sophia. Darling. Come in, come in. She pulled me into a hug that felt like being embraced by a python. We're so excited to finally have a proper celebration. Marcus was in the living room, drink already in hand. Chelsea was on the couch, phone out, barely looking up. Nathan, be a dear and help your father with the wine, Vivian said, immediately separating us. Sophia, come help me in the kitchen. I followed her, already knowing this was the real reason for the dinner invitation. In the kitchen, Vivian handed me a cutting board and vegetables. I thought we could have some girl talk while we prep. Sure. So, married life. How are you adjusting? It's good. Still getting used to everything. I'm sure. She paused, knife hovering over a tomato. You know, when Nathan told us he was getting married, Marcus and I were thrilled. Nathan needs someone stable. Someone practical. That's nice of you to say. We did a little research, of course. Any good family does. She said it casually, like she was talking about the weather. Found out some interesting things about you. My pulse kicked up, but I kept my hands steady on the cutting board. Oh. Your Aunt Eleanor Hayes. Quite the accomplished architect. Beautiful work on that Victorian restoration project of hers. There it was. She was very talented, I said carefully. She left you that house, didn't she? I looked up, meeting Vivian's eyes. They were sharp, calculating. This was the moment. I could lie, but she clearly already knew. Or I could control the narrative. She left me some property, yes. Vivian's smile widened like a shark sensing blood. How wonderful. Family taking care of family. That's so important, don't you think? It is. You know, Marcus has been in real estate investment for 40 years. He's very good at maximizing property value. I'm sure he'd be happy to give you advice on what to do with it. That's generous. We're family now. We help each other. She set down her knife and turned to face me fully. In fact, Marcus and I were discussing how we might be able to help you and Nathan get started properly. Real financial security. Generational wealth. The kind of thing that requires everyone working together. Working together how? Well, that's what tonight is really about. Vivian's smile was radiant and absolutely terrifying. We have a proposition for you. One that benefits everyone. Before I could respond, Nathan appeared in the doorway. Mom, Dad wants to know if we're opening the good wine or saving it. Open it, Vivian said, not taking her eyes off me. Tonight is a celebration. A new beginning for all of us. Dinner was excruciating. We sat around the dining table with its crystal glasses and fine china, eating Vivian's perfectly prepared roast while everyone made small talk. Chelsea complained about Instagram's algorithm. Marcus discussed golf. Nathan told a story about a difficult client at work. All of it felt like a play, and I was waiting for the real scene to start. It came with dessert. Vivian brought out a chocolate cake and coffee, then settled back into her chair with a satisfied smile. So, Sophia, she began, we wanted to talk to you about something important. As a family. Everyone's eyes turned to me. Nathan reached over and squeezed my hand. I noticed he wouldn't quite meet my gaze. Okay, I said. Marcus cleared his throat. The financial world has been challenging lately. I'm sure you've seen the news. Market volatility, interest rate changes, all of it. Sure. My firm has weathered many storms over the years, he continued. But this particular moment requires some strategic repositioning. Consolidation of resources. I took a sip of coffee and waited. What Dad means, Chelsea chimed in, is that we're looking at a family investment opportunity. Something that could benefit all of us. Vivian leaned forward. Here's what we're proposing, dear. Your house, the one Eleanor left you, is a valuable asset. But it's just sitting there, not generating its full potential. It generates rental income potential, I said. If I chose to rent it. Exactly. Potential. Vivian's eyes gleamed. But imagine if we could leverage it for something bigger. Marcus has an opportunity to acquire a commercial property, a real moneymaker. But he needs collateral for the loan. Marcus picked up the thread. If you were to allow us to use your property as collateral, just temporarily, we could secure the commercial deal. Within 2 years, maybe 3, the investment would pay off significantly. You'd get a percentage of the profits, of course. What percentage? We were thinking 20%, Vivian said. Very generous for essentially passive involvement. 20% of my own house's equity. These people were unbelievable. And what happens if the commercial investment doesn't work out? I asked. Marcus waved his hand dismissively. That's extremely unlikely. I've been doing this for 40 years. But if it did? Silence around the table. Finally, Nathan spoke. Sophia, my dad knows what he's doing. This is a solid opportunity. I'm just asking about the worst-case scenario. Vivian's smile tightened. In the unlikely event that something went wrong, the bank would have the right to the collateral. But that won't happen. So I could lose the house. You wouldn't lose it, Marcus said. The family would work together to make sure everyone is protected. How? More silence. Chelsea jumped in, trying to lighten the mood. Think of it like a family fund. We all put in what we can, we all benefit. It's modern, collaborative. Very millennial. I looked at Nathan. He was staring at his plate. Can I think about it? I asked. Vivian's smile froze. Of course, dear. Though we do need to move relatively quickly. The commercial property opportunity won't wait forever. How quickly? By Friday, Marcus said. The seller needs an answer. 3 days. They wanted me to risk $1 million house in 3 days. I'll need to see the specifics of the deal, I said. The commercial property details, the loan terms, all of it. Marcus nodded. Absolutely. I can have my attorney draw up the paperwork. I'd like to have my own attorney review it. The temperature in the room dropped about 10 degrees. Your own attorney? Vivian's voice was sharp. Sophia, we're family. You don't need to spend money on lawyers. Marcus has been doing this longer than you've been alive. I'm sure he has. But this is a big decision. I'd like professional advice. Nathan finally looked at me. Don't you trust us? That question. The manipulation in it was so obvious it hurt. This isn't about trust, I said calmly. This is about being smart with a major asset. If your father's deal is as solid as he says, any attorney will confirm that. Marcus forced a laugh. Of course, of course. Due diligence. Smart thinking. But Vivian wasn't backing down. Who is this attorney you're planning to consult? Eleanor's estate attorney. James Morrison. I watched Vivian's face carefully. Something flickered there. Recognition, maybe. Morrison, she repeated. I think I've heard that name. He's been practicing in Portland for 30 years. Vivian stood, started clearing plates with sharp, aggressive movements. Well, if you insist on complicating things with lawyers and reviews, I suppose we can wait a few days. Though I hope you understand that opportunities like this don't come along often. I understand. The rest of the evening was strained. Chelsea went back to her phone. Marcus retreated to his study. Nathan helped his mother in the kitchen while I sat in the living room, feeling like I just failed some kind of family loyalty test. When we finally left, Nathan was quiet on the drive back to my apartment. That was uncomfortable, he said finally. Your parents want me to risk my inheritance on your father's business deal. It's not a risk. It's an investment. Nathan, be honest with me. Is your father's business in trouble? He gripped the steering wheel tighter. Every business has ups and downs. That's not an answer. Why are you being so paranoid about this? I'm not paranoid. I'm cautious. There's a difference. My parents are trying to help us, and you're acting like they're trying to rob you. Are they? I asked quietly. Nathan pulled up in front of my building and turned to face me. What is that supposed to mean? It means I'm not comfortable using my house as collateral for a business deal I know nothing about. And I don't understand why that's controversial. Because family trusts family, Sophia. That's how it works. No, I said, opening the car door. Family respects family. There's a difference. I got out before he could respond. Inside my apartment, I immediately called James Morrison, not caring that it was almost 10 at night. They made their move, I said when he answered. Tell me everything. I relayed the entire dinner conversation. When I finished, James was quiet for a long moment. Sophia, do you know what Marcus Cross is really asking for? Collateral for a commercial property deal. He's asking you to co-sign on a loan that would put your house at risk if his business fails. And based on the public records I've seen, his business is already failing. You'd essentially be handing him your inheritance to pay off his existing debts. That's what I thought. The trust documents we signed yesterday? Those make what he's asking for legally impossible. Even if you wanted to do it, which I strongly advise against, the trust prevents the house from being used as collateral by anyone. So what do I do? You wait. Let them ask again. Document everything. And when they push harder, which they will, you'll have evidence of attempted financial coercion. They said they need an answer by Friday. Then Friday, you tell them no. And Sophia? Yeah? Be prepared for things to get worse before they get better. Wednesday morning, 17 missed calls from the Cross family. Nathan, we need to talk. Vivian, let's clear the air. Marcus, I have the paperwork ready. And an unknown number, this is Patricia Vance, notary. Vivian Cross asked me to schedule a signing. They'd already hired a notary before I'd agreed to anything. Nathan called. My family is freaking out. Dad's attorney has everything prepared. The notary can meet us this afternoon. I said I needed my own attorney to review it first. Why are you making this so difficult? Why are you pushing so hard? Silence. Then, have your attorney review it. But we need an answer by Friday or the deal falls through. He hung up on me. That afternoon, I hired Thomas Chen, a private investigator recommended by James Morrison. I need to know what they're really dealing with financially. Give me 48 hours. Thursday evening, Thomas called. Come to my office. You need to see this in person. His desk was covered in papers. Marcus Cross Financial Services lost its business license 6 months ago due to ethics violations. He owes over $1 million in settlements and legal fees. Vivian co-signed on loans that are all in default. Their house is 3 months from foreclosure. What about the commercial property deal? Thomas shook his head. There is no commercial property deal. I checked every listing. Marcus hasn't looked at commercial properties in over a year. He slid another document toward me. This is a loan application Marcus filed last week. Look at the collateral section. Eleanor's address. My house. Listed as owned by Cross Family Trust. But there is no Cross Family Trust. Not yet. They'd create it if you'd signed their papers, then leverage your house before you realized what happened. That's fraud. Yes. He pulled out another sheet. Vivian contacted a real estate attorney 3 weeks before your wedding, asking about spousal property rights. How quickly one spouse could claim the other's premarital assets. They'd been planning this before the wedding. Vivian also hired a Boston investigation firm 2 months ago to background check you. They found the property transfer records, the estate settlement, everything. My marriage had been a setup from day one. What do I do? I asked. You have 2 options. Police, or leverage to get out clean. Eleanor would want me to be strategic. Then tomorrow when they want an answer, let's give them one they won't forget. Friday morning arrived with a text from Vivian. We're all meeting at our house at 2 p.m. Patricia the notary will be there. Please don't be late. Not a question. A command. I texted back, I'll be there. Then I called James Morrison. It's happening today. I need you there. Absolutely. I'll bring everything we discussed. Next, I called Thomas Chen. Can you be nearby? In case I need backup? I'll be parked down the street. You'll have photos of everyone who comes and goes. Finally, the hardest call. My parents. Sophia? Mom answered on the first ring. Sweetheart, we've been worried. Nathan's mother called us yesterday saying you were being difficult about some family investment. Of course Vivian had called them. Trying to apply pressure from every angle. Mom, I need you to trust me. Can you and Dad come to Nathan's parents' house this afternoon at 2 p.m.? Why? What's going on? I can't explain everything now, but I need witnesses. People on my side. Please. There was a pause, then my father's voice in the background. Tell her we'll be there. We'll be there, Mom confirmed. But Sophia, you're scaring me. I know. I'm sorry. But this is important. Just trust me. At 1:45 p.m., I pulled up to the Cross family house. My parents' car was already there. Thomas Chen's van was parked 3 houses down, his camera visible in the front seat. I sat in my car for a moment, gathering my courage. Then I grabbed the folder James had prepared for me and walked to the front door. Vivian answered, her smile tight. Sophia. You made it. I said I would. Inside, everyone was assembled like a tribunal. Marcus sat in his leather chair, papers spread on the coffee table. Chelsea was on the couch, filming everything on her phone, probably for one of her social media stories. Nathan stood by the window, arms crossed, not looking at me. And there was Patricia the notary, briefcase open, official stamp ready. My parents sat on the love seat, looking confused and uncomfortable. Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, Vivian said with false warmth. So glad you could join us. We wanted the whole family here for this exciting moment. What exciting moment? My mother asked. Sophia's about to make a very smart investment decision, Marcus said. One that will benefit everyone. James Morrison walked in behind me. Excuse me, is this the Cross residence? Everyone turned. Vivian's smile faltered. Who are you? James Morrison, attorney at law. I'm here representing Sophia Bennett in these proceedings. Proceedings? Vivian's voice rose. This is a family meeting, not a legal proceeding. Any meeting involving property transfer and a notary is a legal proceeding, James said mildly, setting his own briefcase on the coffee table. I assume you don't mind if I review the documents before my client signs anything? Marcus's face had gone pale. Now hold on. Unless there's something in those documents you don't want an attorney to see? James raised an eyebrow. Patricia the notary was looking increasingly uncomfortable. Mrs. Cross, you told me this was a straightforward family trust agreement. It is, Vivian insisted. Then you won't mind if I examine it, James said, reaching for the papers on the coffee table. Those are private family documents, Vivian snapped, but James had already picked them up. He read silently for a moment, his expression darkening. Then he looked up at Marcus. Mr. Cross, are you aware that what you're asking Sophia to sign would make her personally liable for over $900,000 in your business debts? The room went silent. That's not, Marcus started. Section 12, paragraph 3, James read aloud. The undersigned agrees to assume joint responsibility for all existing debts and liabilities of cross-family enterprises, to be secured against properties listed in Exhibit A. He flipped to the exhibit, which lists 447 Winthrop Street, Portland. Sophia's house. My mother gasped. What? It's a standard clause, Vivian said quickly. Just legal language. Standard? James's voice was sharp. This document would give you the right to borrow against her property, use it as collateral, and if you default, the bank would seize it. Sophia would lose everything and still owe the debts. Nathan finally spoke, his voice strained. That's not what you told me it said. Everyone looked at him. What did they tell you it said? I asked quietly. That it was just, that we'd all share in the profits from Dad's new investment. That you'd get 20% and we'd help manage the property for you. His face was crumbling. They said it was a good deal for everyone. Nathan, Marcus said, warning in his voice. No, Dad. Nathan turned to face his father. You told me we were helping Sophia. You said she didn't understand real estate and we'd guide her. You said it was for us, for our future. It is for your future, Vivian insisted. All of our futures. We're about to lose everything. The house, our savings, everything we've built. This is the only way to save it. By stealing from me? I said. We're not stealing. We're borrowing. We'd pay you back. With what? I pulled out Thomas Chen's report. Your business lost its license 6 months ago. You're $1 million in debt. You're 3 months from foreclosure. There is no commercial property deal. This was all a lie. I threw the report on the coffee table. Marcus picked it up, his hands shaking. You investigated us? Vivian's voice was ice. You investigated me first, I said. 2 months ago. Before Nathan and I even got engaged. You knew about Eleanor's house before he proposed to me. Nathan's head snapped up. What? I pulled out the second document from my folder. This is a receipt from a private investigation firm in Boston. Paid for by Vivian Cross. They did a full background check on me, including asset searches and property records. Nathan, I said, looking at my husband, they knew what I had before you asked me to marry you. This was always about the house. His face went white. Mom? Vivian said nothing. Mom. His voice cracked. Tell me that's not true. Tell me you didn't, that we didn't. We were protecting you, Vivian said. Protecting all of us. You needed someone stable, someone with resources. We found her for you. You found her. Nathan stumbled backward, hitting the wall. You set this up. The wedding, everything. You turned my marriage into a con. It wasn't a con, Marcus said weakly. We genuinely thought you two would be good together. The financial aspect was just practical. My father stood up. We're leaving. Sophia, get your things. Wait, Patricia, the notary said. She'd been quiet this whole time, but now she stood, packing up her stamp and papers. For the record, I was told this was a legitimate family trust. I had no idea about any of this. She looked at Vivian. Don't ever contact me again. She left, and the silence she left behind was deafening. Friday afternoon at the Cross house, everyone was assembled. Marcus with his papers, Chelsea filming on her phone, Patricia the notary with her stamp ready. My parents sat confused on the love seat. Vivian smiled tightly. Sophia's about to make a very smart investment decision. James Morrison walked in behind me. I'm here representing Sophia Bennett. Vivian's smile faltered. This is a family meeting, not a legal proceeding. Any meeting involving property transfer and a notary is a legal proceeding. James reached for the papers. I assume you don't mind if I review these first? Those are private. James was already reading. His expression darkened. Mr. Cross, are you aware this would make Sophia personally liable for over $900,000 in your business debts? He read aloud, Section 12, Paragraph 3. The undersigned agrees to assume joint responsibility for all existing debts and liabilities of cross-family enterprises, secured against properties listed in Exhibit A. He showed the exhibit. Eleanor's address. My mother gasped. This document would let you borrow against her property. When you default, the bank seizes it. Sophia loses everything and still owes the debts. Nathan stood frozen. That's not what you told me it said. Everyone looked at him. What did they tell you? I asked. That we'd share profits. That you'd get 20% and they'd help manage the property. His face crumbled. They said it was for us, for our future. Nathan, Marcus warned. No, Dad. You told me we were helping Sophia. You lied to me too. I pulled out Thomas's report. Your business lost its license 6 months ago. You're $1 million in debt. 3 months from foreclosure. There is no commercial property deal. This was all a lie. Marcus picked up the report with shaking hands. You investigated us? Vivian's voice was ice. You investigated me first. 2 months ago. Before Nathan proposed. I showed the receipt from the Boston investigation firm. Nathan went white. What? They knew about Eleanor's house before you asked me to marry you. This was always about the money. Mom? Nathan's voice cracked. Tell me that's not true. Vivian said nothing. Tell me. He stumbled backward. You set this up. You turned my marriage into a con. We were protecting you, Vivian said. You needed someone stable. We found her for you. You found her. Nathan hit the wall. The wedding, everything. You made my marriage into a fraud. Patricia stood, packing her notary supplies. I was told this was legitimate. Don't ever contact me again. She left. Nathan stared at his parents. How long have you been planning this? About 2 years, Marcus said quietly. When Eleanor died and we saw the property transfer, we saw an opportunity. We introduced you at that conference. That wasn't coincidence. You set us up from the beginning. We facilitated a meeting, Vivian corrected. What happened after was genuine. My father stood. We're leaving. Wait, I said. I pulled out the post-nuptial agreement. Nathan, you have a choice. Sign this, acknowledging my premarital assets stay mine, and we try to rebuild trust. Or refuse, and I file for divorce based on fraud. You're bluffing, Vivian said. Mrs. Cross, James said, I have evidence of attempted fraud, conspiracy, and operating without a license. Sophia is being generous by offering this instead of calling police. Nathan stared at the document. Then he picked up a pen and signed. He looked at his parents. What you did is unforgivable. You didn't just try to steal from Sophia. You stole my ability to build a real marriage. Nathan, you're being ridiculous. I'm done. With the schemes, the manipulation, all of it. We walked to the door. If you leave now, don't bother coming back. Vivian's voice was shrill. You'll be dead to us. Nathan paused. I already feel dead. Being here, pretending everything was normal while you plotted. He walked out. Outside, my mother pulled me into a hug. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. It's not your fault. My father squeezed my shoulder. What do you need? Just be there. This is going to get messy. Nathan stood by his car, looking lost. I don't know what to say. Don't. Not yet. Can I call you tomorrow? Just to know there's still a chance. I looked at my husband who'd been manipulated but had also participated in that manipulation. Who'd signed the postnup only when faced with divorce. I'll answer. But that's all I'm promising. Relief washed over his face. That's enough. He drove away, not back toward his parents' house. James approached. You handled that beautifully. Now we wait and see if they try anything else. After everyone left, I called Rachel and told her everything. What are you going to do about Nathan? She asked. I don't know. Part of me wants to believe he was just manipulated too. And the other part? Thinks he should have chosen me over them without needing a legal threat and divorce papers. Both can be true. People are complicated. You don't have to decide today. My phone rang again. A number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Cross? Detective Sarah Walsh, Portland Police. I received a complaint about potential fraud. Do you have evidence regarding Marcus and Vivian Cross? I looked at the folder of documents. I have extensive evidence. Can you come to the station tomorrow morning? I'll be there. I texted James, police want a statement. Should I give it? His response, absolutely. Protecting yourself means protecting others from their schemes too. I sat in Rachel's driveway, thinking about Eleanor. About how she'd warned me. How she'd prepared for this exact scenario. I'm doing what you taught me, I whispered. I'm protecting what's mine. For the first time since the wedding, I felt like I was doing the right thing. Saturday morning, I walked into the Portland Police Department with James Morrison beside me and a folder full of evidence under my arm. Detective Sarah Walsh was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense handshake. Mrs. Cross, thank you for coming in. Let's talk in the conference room. We sat at a metal table under fluorescent lights. Detective Walsh opened a notepad. Walk me through everything, she said. I started at the beginning. Eleanor's death, the inheritance, keeping it secret. The wedding. The strange sounds that first night that led me to overhear the planning session. Every phone call, every dinner, every manipulation attempt. James added legal context when needed, explaining the fraudulent documents, the attempted coercion, the fake commercial property deal. Detective Walsh took notes steadily. When I finished, she sat back. This is elaborate, she said. Premeditated fraud, conspiracy, operating a business without a license. Potentially identity theft if they filed any documents using your information without consent. Can you do anything about it? I asked. We can investigate. Interview witnesses, subpoena records, build a case. She paused. But I need to be honest with you. Financial crimes like this are complicated. They take time. And family cases are particularly difficult because defense attorneys argue that everything was a misunderstanding, that the family was just trying to help. But I have recordings. Documents. A private investigator's report. Which helps tremendously. But you need to understand, this could take months. Maybe longer. And it will get ugly. Your in-laws will fight back. I thought about Nathan. About the postnup he'd signed. About the look on his face when he realized what his parents had done. I don't care if it gets ugly, I said. They tried to steal my house. They manipulated my marriage. They need to face consequences. Detective Walsh smiled slightly. Good. I like working with people who have spines. She pulled out a form. I'm opening an official investigation. We'll need to take formal statements, probably bring you back in for follow-up questions. Are you prepared for that? Yes. And your husband? Nathan Cross. Where does he stand in all this? That was the question, wasn't it? He signed a post-nuptial agreement yesterday protecting my assets. He confronted his parents. He walked out on them. But I don't know if he did it because it was right, or because he was caught. Detective Walsh nodded. We'll need to interview him too. He may have information about his parents' financial activities that could help the case. He'll cooperate, I said, hoping it was true. James and I left the police station 2 hours later. I felt drained but lighter somehow. Like I'd set down a weight I'd been carrying. What happens now? I asked. Now you go live your life, James said. Let the police do their job. Focus on yourself. On healing. And Nathan? That's entirely up to you. My phone buzzed as we reached the parking lot. Text from Nathan, can we meet? Just to talk. I won't pressure you for anything. I just need to see you. I stared at the message. James put his hand on my shoulder. Whatever you decide, make sure it's what you want. Not what you think you should want. Not what anyone else thinks you should do. What you actually want. I don't know what I want. That's okay too. You don't have to know yet. I texted Nathan back, coffee. Monday afternoon. Public place. His response was immediate, thank you. I'll be there. Rachel was waiting at her apartment when I got back. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. You filed a police report, didn't you? Yeah. How do you feel? Terrified. Relieved. Angry. Sad. Everything at once. That's normal. She pulled back, studying my face. Are you seeing Nathan Monday? How did you know? Because I know you. You're not ready to give up on him yet. Is that stupid? No. It's human. Just be careful. And remember, you can love someone and still not be able to trust them. Sometimes love isn't enough. That night, alone in Rachel's guest room, I pulled out my phone and looked at my wedding photos. Nathan and I looked so happy. So genuinely in love. Had any of it been real? Or had the whole thing been built on his family's manipulation from the start? I didn't have answers. But I knew one thing for certain. Whatever happened with Nathan, whatever happened with the police investigation, whatever happened next, I had Eleanor's house. I had my independence. I had my power. And nobody, not Vivian, not Marcus, not even Nathan, could take that away from me. Eleanor's voice echoed in my memory one last time. The best thing about owning something that's truly yours is that it gives you choices. You're never trapped. You can always walk away. I could walk away from Nathan. From his family. From all of it. The question was whether I wanted to. Monday would give me some answers. Monday afternoon, Nathan arrived at the coffee shop looking exhausted. I'd been staying at a hotel. Can't go back to my parents' house. He ordered coffee, then sat quietly. They've called 63 times. Mom showed up at my office this morning. Security escorted her out. What did she want? To convince me you're manipulating me. That I'm choosing the wrong side. He finally looked up. I've been trying to figure out what was real and what was them. What did you figure out? I loved you. That part was real. When I proposed, I was thinking about how you laugh and cry at old movies and talk about buildings like they're alive. I loved you for you. But you also went along with their plan. I did. And I hate myself for it. He rubbed his face. They framed it like I'd be helping you. I didn't see it as stealing. When did you know it was wrong? Not until Friday. Not until I saw those documents and heard what they really said. That's when I realized they'd been lying to me too. That's a long time to be blind. I know. My whole life, I've done what they wanted. When they suggested I talk to you at that conference, it felt like guidance. I've been conditioned to trust them completely. That doesn't excuse it. No. It doesn't. I should have protected you from day one. The police want to interview you. He went pale. Detective Walsh called this morning. Will you cooperate? Yes. Completely. Whatever they need to know, I'll tell them everything. He paused. My mom's going to hate me for it. Are you okay with that? I have to be. I took a breath. I filed for divorce this morning. His cup stopped halfway to his mouth. What? Irreconcilable differences. Fraud in the inducement of marriage. I can't build a life with someone whose family tried to destroy me. I know. Tears streamed down his face. I don't blame you. Can I ask you something? He said finally. Was any of it real for you? I thought about the wedding. How happy I'd felt. It was real, I said. Until it wasn't. That's fair. I hope someday you can forgive me. Maybe someday. But not today. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.